made. I was learning so much from people on Instagram and on Facebook that were doing the same thing. So I said I would meet them at Avalon, which was an outdoor shopping mall, because we're outside, it's still safe and everything. And I just took orders in my social media and I went, and I was like,
Awesome.
I think I have something here. So I was super grateful for the people in that area because they really got it going.
And so were you nervous when you moved up here to restart?
I was terrified. I was honestly really terrified because Alpharetta, that area is a very Housewives of Atlanta type area. So the bakery that I worked at was right next door to Country Club of the South. So that was like Chipper Jones and Tom Glavine, and these kind of people would come in to eat. That was the area, very affluent. But there were a lot of moms and stay-at-home wives that had money to spend, and they were buying the DIY kits and they were buying the custom cookies, and it was just booming. And everywhere and around there was like, take my money. And so here, I didn't really know. And Nick said, there's a lot of families, they have money. And he was like, don't be fooled. They've got money to spend. But the one thing that did not sell out here was the decorate your own cookies. The women here are bakers. They like to bake. So that part did not sell, which was fine. But the custom cookies just boomed. And I was a little shocked. I mean, no hate on the area. It was just a smaller area. And I was scared. And I was really scared that the business wasn't going to be here, but it was. So I'm super grateful.
That's cool. Were you able to keep the pricing similar?
I have tried to keep my pricing really reasonable. Out in the cookie community, right now it's $85, $90, $100 for a custom dozen. And I've been keeping mine at $65 to $70 for as long as I can, because I don't want the one thing that a mom really wants, saying absolutely not. And so all of my years piping and decorating, I do move quicker than I would say a lot of cookie people or decorating people do. So I'm comfortable in my price range. I just want that to always be something that is doable. I don't want to get greedy.
Costs obviously go up and things, right? Like cost of living is higher.
It's tricky to keep it where it is because I also use really expensive ingredients. So like Nielsen Massey vanilla bean paste, that's very expensive. My cookies are 3/8 of an inch in thickness. So it's not like a flat, skinny cookie. So you get a big chunk of it. And butter for a while was $16 for the big block at Costco. And when I started doing this business, it was $5.99. You kind of have to take those things into consideration. So I don't increase the price as often as I should, but I'm okay with it.
And so are you able to source most stuff locally, or do you have to order some of those specialty ingredients? Or
Oh, so moving out here, one of the big problems that I had, and I was really scared, was in the South, white lily flour is like, we call it the Lord's flour because that's the holy grail of bake. So super white, super soft, and you can't get it out here. So I don't think they produce it west of Texas. So I had to start from scratch. And for a while, Fred Meyer, I was getting them to deliver white lily, 22 bags until they realized where it was going to Colton. They started canceling my orders because they didn't have a delivery driver and I actually contacted and I said, can I come get it? And like, no, we just don't get it anymore. I tried some different flours, and now I actually use the local shepherd's grains, and I get that at the chef store down in Lewiston. So I love theirs. Keep using that one.
So you're able to kind of shift local, which is cool that you're supporting and everything.
I try. Not everything, but
you get a little bit in still.
No.
You don't ship a little bit in if you're like, I really want that.
No, I can't get it. I would be totally honest. I can't get it.
It'd be like, you could probably get it, but the cost is gonna be ridiculous.
The reason I went through Fred Meyer was because it's a Kroger company, and Kroger does white lily, but then they just started to stay out of stock. And then I switched because I found a loophole and I could still get it, and now they've cut me off. So I literally had to.
Because you're ordering a lot, right?
I order a lot. I order the 5-pound bags, 22 to 25 bags at a time. But here, now that I've started doing the shepherd's grain, I get the big 50-pound bags. It's easier.
Those are the things I would not have thought that flour would be an issue.
It was a problem. For me, it was a problem because you're so in love and comfortable with your cookie recipe, which I worked on for so long. And switching flours can be detrimental. It'll spread, it'll poof, it'll create bubbles. And this is the one flour that has kept everything nice and tight on the sides, flat on the top, soft bite. It's a great.
Yeah. So what do you recommend for people who, probably the one that you mentioned, but what would you recommend for just an average person who's trying to
I would just use an all-purpose Pillsbury or Gold Medal, or I don't really like the store brand, basic brand, like a Walmart brand or something, just because I feel like you can taste the difference in the grain. It has a plasticky taste to it.
Okay.
If you're just starting out and you're just wanting to work on your recipe, just a store all-purpose flour is great. If you taste where it's a little bit milly, add more salt.
That's the trick. And so at some point you got invited to be on the Food Network.
Yes.
Right? And what was the show called?
Christmas Cookie Challenge.
Christmas Cookie Challenge. Were you on the last season?
I was on the last season. I didn't know that they were going to cancel it. So I just made it in there. Oh, I was sad though.
Tell us a little bit about that experience. First, how did you get invited to do that? And then kind of walk us through the process.
I got an email and a phone call pretty close together, and it actually said Hollywood, California. So I picked it up, and the girl's name was Taylor, and she had gotten my information off of a casting forum on Facebook, and someone that knew me put my name in there.
Oh, wow.
And she had checked out my work and then called me and asked me if I would be interested in it. And so I was like, yeah, you know. Funny story, she was in California, but she actually graduated from Georgia. I was like, this is a sign. They asked me if I would be interested, but then the process got long. There was quite a process to it. So phone interviews, Zoom interviews with the producers, asking you questions and giving you scenarios. What would you do in this scenario? Would you be comfortable with this? What would happen if this? And it was a lot. I'm going to be honest with you. On probably the fourth Zoom interview, I logged off, and this was the last one. They said, you're in the final round, and we'll let you know. In the next 48 hours, you'll get an email saying, yes, we want you, or thanks so much for your time. And I just looked at Nick and I was like, I think that went really bad. I feel like that one was really tough, because part of the process is them asking you some of the same questions over and over just to put you on the spot, because you feel if you've already answered that so many times, the answer gets weird and your energy gets weird.
Like, why are you asking the same question again?
The last one was dicey. And I remember we were supposed to go out with some friends that night, and we did. We went to Casa Lopez in Moscow, and I'm waiting on this email, and I was so distracted, and I just thought, I think I bombed this. I don't think they're going to want me. And I got it. And they said, congratulations, you've been chosen. And then right off the bat, you sign NDAs and contracts and stuff that you can't talk about when the filming is and all that stuff until it's over.
Right.
So we went right into legalities.
Were you able to even tell people that you were going on it after you'd signed the stuff, or?
You had to wait a certain period, and you couldn't give them any date details. And we didn't know which episode it was going to be. We didn't know the air date until I think it was 2 months before.
Okay. So you filmed that at what time, and when did it come out?
We filmed the first week of April. They flew us to Burbank, California. And when we got into Burbank, we had a driver, and it was rush hour traffic in LA. From the airport to the hotel took us, I think, 5 hours in a car after we'd been on the plane. And then our call time in the morning, all interviews that day. And you didn't know anyone that was on your episode with you, but you had to be dressed in your Christmas stuff. So they had selected for you. And so we're down in the lobby, and it's April. And all of a sudden I see someone coming down, and she's got reindeer antlers on and red sweater and these little bobs on her shoes, like little ornaments. This girl's on. And Nicholas, if you watch the show, he came down with a vest on and had Christmas trees and plaid and everything. And I was like, okay, that guy's on mine. So you had to kind of learn.
So the interviews, that's the portion where you're sitting somewhere in a different room and they're asking you questions.
Yes. So we got the location, and you could actually hear an episode being filmed while we were going up to the interview room. So you had an escort everywhere. You were not allowed to walk anywhere by yourself. And we went up into the room, and then that's when I realized Sharon, Nicholas, and Courtney, that was my episode people. And they took you back one at a time. And they had already given you the apron that you were supposed to wear and the outfit that you were supposed to wear. And they pulled you into that back room. And each person took, I think, 2 hours of sound bits. And the worst part for me of the entire process was one of these times, because they mic'd you up and you had to say words like, but you had to do it 5 different ways. And you got so sick of your own voice. And I was the last one to go. So I was sitting in this room just alone for the longest time. But it was quite an experience.
How long was the whole filming process?
We were in Burbank for April 4th through the 9th.
Wow.
So it was days, yes. But it went over a Sunday. So that was a free day. Food Network paid for your Uber, your meals. We went to the pier. We just did all that stuff. We got reimbursed for all that stuff, which was super cool. But the filming, they decided to film both of our rounds, the first and second round, in the same day. So one day was all interviews. The next day, start to finish, was both rounds. And they would break in between and pull you out. And there was a cleaning crew that would come in and clean everything up. And then they'd bring you back in for judging and stuff. And then the final day was closing interviews.
Okay.
There was a time in between where they had to buffer because the people that were eliminated first had to do their interviews. And I guess they had to hold them in a risk assessment room because some people were really mad. And so they had to let them calm down and do their interviews. So I didn't know that.
Do you feel like you maybe weren't into it to the level that some of the other people were?
I'm a very competitive person by nature, but I found out that Nicholas and Courtney had both applied 3 times to be on this show. And then Sharon, I think twice. And they called me. They had asked me. Of course, I was like, I would love to do it. It was something I'd always thought about. But the level of trying to make it onto the show, they were on a different level.
They were super fans of the show and really wanted to be on it, where you were just asked because someone submitted you.
I was super excited, and I put as much work into it as I could. I really wanted to win. But I remember looking over during the tractor round, and I looked over at Courtney's just for a second, and hers was already standing up and ready to be decorated, and mine was still flat because I had chosen to do the cooked sugar process of the windows. Because I'm going to be really honest with you, I've never used isomalt in my life. 1, and 2, I was like, that seems really easy. Just microwave something for 30 and pour it into a slot. I don't know. I probably should have done that because it would have given me a little bit more time to decorate, but I was super proud of what I put out there because I don't do that. I don't build things with these cookies.
No, it looked really good. I was thinking about that. I was like, it's an interesting show because not everybody's going to be doing all that stuff all the time. I get that they're trying to challenge you, but
it was quite a challenge. I heard some parts of Nicholas's falling at some points, and then in the first round, Sharon dropped some royal icing transfers, and I just remembered hearing her like, oh, she was so frazzled. And I actually asked her, I was like, you good? You're okay. I was so comfortable in the first round. Can I say that? I was very comfortable in the first round, and everything was
you won
working.
the first round, right?
I was like, this is all just really working for me.
I thought your stuff in the first round was on a different level compared to what they were doing.
Oh, thank you.
It just seemed like it was pro level. They professionals.
The judges, you mean?
No, the other competitors.
Nicholas, I can say it now, but he works cookies and cakes and stuff at Disney in Orlando. So he's a cake maker, and he does those buttercream cookies and stuff for big stuff. And then Courtney, she does do cookies, but I think she has another full-time job, but she does a lot of more intricate little things like that and more built